Hey, this one is from Anonymous, and it's to Aaron Ross Vogel. It says, 6 Swiss witches switch 6 Swiss watches. Nailed it. From Mom and Dad to Jaden Singh, while once marching band is over, no more excuses from doing your chores. From Brittany, Dustin, and Everly to McKenna Horton, best wishes at Superstate, Go Ridge, we love you, Kenna. And from Grammy and Pop Pop to Cassie Smith, move like you're dancing with the stars. All right. So what we're going to do tonight, everyone, I'm going to have Mr. Tony Ruan. He's our sophomore drum major. He's going to start up the warm-up sequence and then tell you a little bit about our show. The person who's going to be telling you a little bit about our show is Ryan Springler. So Ryan is our program coordinator and had the design between the staging and the props and everything that's going on, and it's a big team effort, but I'm going to have him talk through the show a little bit. So Ryan, if you would. You got to
Nice. Sweet. Hey, how's it going? Nice to see you guys. This is kind of a chance for us, now that you're seeing the program in its fully realized version, to let you in on some of the details. So obviously, when it comes to marching band, they're judged in a lot of different ways. How the kids are able to move around the field visually and the accuracy that they have, how well they play their instruments, the precision and emotionality of the color guard, and then the drum line as well. But all of these things are put together in a caption called General Effect. We have a judge who kind of looks at how everything in the show comes together to tell a story and whether or not that communicates effectively. So I want to let you guys know a little bit about the story of the other side. So obviously we've got these huge, amazing props out here that our band parents have done such an incredible job of maintaining and fully realizing over the course of the season. These are sort of obstacles that we're dealing with, and they're sometimes very literal in the sense that they divide the group up physically on the field between one section and the other. They also sort of represent like a metaphysical obstacle too. The music we're playing is very dark and dramatic, and so they kind of represent the turmoil that we experience when you are sometimes separated from where you are and you're feeling the pain of the distance to where you want to be. Obviously, the marching band season, the kids all experience a bunch of growth over the course of the season. So it's kind of an interesting way for us to teach a lesson there. They get to do a show that's about the experience of growing and overcoming obstacles and getting to the other side of, for some of them, what might be the most challenging team sport they've ever done to this date. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the first movement of the show. The props are set up in the most literal wall that we have during the entire program. All of the band is separated on the far side of the stage, and emphasis is put up to the color guard. We kind of set the stage with our two characters. You have the band, who's in very dark uniforms. Their motion is very heavy and earthbound and very disorderly at the beginning. You'll see them all behind the gate, kind of writhing and squirming and all of that. And then you have the color guard up front, who's very elegant, very dancerly, and very free and lifted. They represent being on the other side, and they're sort of our goal. We're trying to live amongst the color guard through the course of the show. So what you'll see over the course of the first movement is the band coming up to the gate, kind of seeing through to the other side, and the moment of first contact when the gates open up and they're able to finally interact with the color guard for the first time. So here is the first section of our show, movement 1.
This whole thing, it takes a community like yourself. It takes a huge team of incredible parents, students, and staff. And so I want to do a few staff introductions. You heard from Ryan, my right-hand man out here, Mr. Michael Warner. Okay, Michael Warner. We have a student teacher this year from NAU who's really fitting great. His name is Colton Rafanon. On our drum staff here tonight is Dustin Endicott with the glasses and the stash. Big round of them for the mustache. And then a teacher at one of our feeder schools and who student taught here a few years ago and is doing a great job. We saw his band from West Wing perform this morning, and that's Zach Squibb. And another former student teacher from here just kept sticking around, and he's doing visual. His name is Stephen Levesque. And And then last but certainly not least, we've got an incredible guard program. As you can see here, they're the most visual element of our band, and multiple state championship winner in the winter guard, led up by Carrie Ng. I'm going to give her the mic and she's going to talk to you a little bit about the guard. Give it up for Carrie Ng.
Check. Stand this way. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. Obviously, these kids work really hard all around. One thing that we're really, really proud of this year is the end of the show. You're going to see not only is the color guard spinning a giant 8-foot flag, but we put a whole bunch of band members on 8-foot flag as well, and they're doing a tremendous job with it. Kids that are talented are just talented all around, and so it's really cool to see that.
All right. So I'm going to have Ryan talk through part 2 a little bit, and then we'll play through our second part of the show. The only part I'll tell you here is what the music is. This is a piano concerto by Dmitri Shostakovich. You're going to hear that piano concerto music both in the piano, literally in the piano players, in the pit, and then also in our really excellent soloists. We've got Lahari on piccolo. We have 2 incredible players on woodwinds with Tony. Let's see, it's Daryl is playing soprano sax, and Caitlin, one of our drum majors, is playing clarinet. And then we feature the baritones, and this thing I think is kind of cool. Baritones, low brass instrument. They're playing the virtuosic piano part on a low brass instrument. So just musically, this is all about kind of like just showing off our skills. And I'll give it to Ryan to talk through the emotional concept of the show.
All right, so as you guys can see, the gates have opened up. The band and the color guard are now together, and now this next part of the show is all about whether or not they get along now that they're intermixed. So Mr. Vogel was talking about what the music is. I want to talk a little bit about what the music does. A lot of Shostakovich's music has this kind of dark, quirky, sarcastic quality to it. He's one of those composers where if you know anything by Danny Elfman for any of the Tim Burton films, Shostakovich was a big kind of inspiration for him. So it's got that same kind of quirky, dark sort of sound to it. What you're going to see, the gates themselves are going to fly open and kind of cover the field in a very disorderly sort of way. And now we're going to start dividing up the band and grouping them with the color guard in all sorts of different ways. If you're going to be with us on Saturday, being able to watch us in ASU, you'll be able to be further back and higher up and appreciate just how many things we have the band doing. They're running, they're jumping, they're down on the ground, they're up in the air, and that doesn't even cover what the phenomenal color guard is doing. All sorts of tosses, all sorts of incredible acrobatic work with the rifles. We end with them all on rifle, which is really, really pretty special. If you guys are there at the competition and are able to watch most groups, you'll be able to appreciate just how strong the color guard is from the top of the section all the way through the bottom, because being on rifle is not easy. So now we get to watch the 2 halves of the band sort of play with each other, and we get to watch all the little hijinks and wacky things that happen over the course of this movement. All right, so by the end of part 2, we end up with the band and the color guard all intermixed, and it's athletic, aggressive kind of music, and you've seen a bunch of visual back and forth. And for our purposes, it doesn't really work out so well. So the way that part 3 begins is the color guard retreats back behind the wall. They take a bunch of the props and kind of build them into another barrier, and most of the guard ends up in the back corner of the field, where they're again separated from the ensemble, and we're kind of back to the emotional state that we were in the beginning. The band and the guard are totally separated, and we don't like it. The analogy that I used for the kids one rehearsal is it's sort of like we're the orphans on Christmas Day. You've got the color guard with the bright, beautiful yellow flags in the back corner, and we just have our noses pressed to the glass like orphans on the other side. So the music becomes melancholy again. What you might notice is we've moved from the Shostakovich, which is classical and virtuosic and really fast, to rock and roll. All the music in this movement is based off of Pink Floyd's The Wall, and if you haven't recognized that melody already, perhaps you'll get it this time. That's kind of the emotional climax of this movement. This movement is also sort of the emotional turning point of the show, represented by Sam, our wonderful saber soloist, who you've probably seen be incredible the entire season.
So thank you so much for a great season and for a great year. And without further ado, drum majors, Leia ready, Caitlin Brogan, Jaden Singh, and Tony Ruan. Is your band ready? Mountain Ridge High School, Pride of the West, you may begin your performance.
First run was really good.
the Mountain Rouge High School Pride of Go West. Max.
Well, this was a really good night. I'm proud of them.
Do it, man. Go to your prompts.